But hey, at least I am actually recording this time. Last episode we had a little hiccup with the recording. It didn't. We had to do a take 2. That was awkward for me. But anyway, welcome to episode 5 of the Save Games podcast. Thanks for joining me, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Doing really good.
Excellent.
Beautiful rainy day in Oregon.
Oh.
So every day, just like every day.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we're doing good. I am most certainly overwhelmed with the anticipation of what God is up to in the context of digital space. I learned yesterday that the Catholic Church has provided sainthood to a young Italian-born gamer, the first millennial saint.
Yep.
I was like,
that the woman?
no, Carlos.
No.
Name is Carlos.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Saint Carlos Actus. And I mean, I was in tears when I saw this. Because it was this, there's a moment where all of a sudden there's something very real and very good about gaming.
Yep.
And I'm not necessarily so concerned with the belief structure. It's the identification of a spiritual body has now decided to go, wait a second, this is viable. This is something we really need to take seriously and have more conversations about. The Catholic Church doesn't mess around with sainthood.
Correct.
Like
There's strict criteria for what you have to do, and it has to be verifiable and all of those things.
Yep.
So, before that, did you know that with the annual youth pilgrimage that was this year, that they were planning a digital pilgrimage for youth as well who could not make it? And the previous Pope, before he passed away, he was way supportive of digital. I don't know exactly where the new one is, but I had some friends who were supposed to be working on the VR for the pilgrimage to the Vatican with all of that stuff that happened this summer.
That would be incredible.
Really?
Now, and for context, this young man's, I don't know how to describe his pre-sainthood. He passed away in 2006. So we're not even recognizing the most current iteration of the digital construct and reality that is everywhere. This is before that had even started. Like 2006, YouTube wasn't even born yet, I don't think. The iPhone only came out in 2007.
I think YouTube was 2006, around there, but it was only 3-minute max videos when they started.
So I'm trying to sit back and reverse engineer, because the 2 healings that he was attributed to happened while online. His prayer over kids with cancer. He died of cancer, but the prayer, I'm just overwhelmed that this happened underneath my nose almost. And I would consider myself pretty excited about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You're seeing that kind of stuff in various different spaces. Like, I thought it was really cool how Chaplain, I think I'm saying it the right name, wrote an article for Christianity Today, and it was all about digital ministry and gaming ministry. And then at the same time, there was another woman named Annie that did. And then my wife sent me this podcast episode from Focus on the Family of another woman named Annie, who did a whole episode about how fun is a gateway to joy, and it was talking about a lot about fun and gaming and play and stuff like that. And it's like a lot of like institutions that are well respected are starting to take notice of this, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, Jacqueline, I believe it's Jacqueline Parrish, should be coming out with her book sometime this fall. I thought it was supposed to be, which is the theology of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people are going to have their pastors read that. But if you are going into gaming ministry and you're getting pushback from it because people say that's just childish, you need to put it aside, you need to grow up. Well, they have a place to go to now, or they will, that they can say, look, here is some scholarly attempts at looking at theological ways to understand how God has created us. And I am pushing into and leaning into that. So anybody that can do that, I want to have that as a resource I can hand out to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am going to be printing off her article to hand it out at my event October 4th. And as what her talk I watched the first NCMS, almost all of it online, and she spoke there too. And it was the theology of play and theology of fun. And I just thought it was amazing. I was like, that was like the one takeaway I took away from the whole event. Like that's just stuck with me in my head the whole time is very cool. Yeah.
That's Bubba's event, right? The Nerd Culture Summit thing?
Yeah, Bubba and
Love
Mark.
Thy Nerd and Lux Digital Church.
And Lux, yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool event. I'd love to go one day, but it's not on my radar as of yet. But
put it on your wish list. Put it on your
sure.
wish list in your stream so somebody can just pay for you to go.
Yeah. That'd be nice. And then it's the taking the time away from the wife with the 4 kids and leaving her home.
You can bring her along. You could bring her along, and the kids and the wife could go exploring Garden of the Gods all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, and Reach is coming up soon too. So we got all sorts of conferences going on. I've kind of switched my event that I was doing previously. I just called it Gather and Game. Now I'm calling it Gather and Game Conf, or Gather and Game Conference. And we're doing a one-day thing. Brett's actually coming. Chaplain is coming to speak to parents, and a local pastor is coming to do a talk as well. And we're having a Mario Kart tournament, and it's gonna be awesome. But
in November, I'll also be speaking. I was chosen as one of 72 global people to speak at the Esports Research Network conference. That's 72 hours concurrent on Twitch. So they have a different speaker every hour with a bunch of opening and breakout sessions. It's a really cool idea, but they run them concurrently globally, so every time zone has an opportunity to speak during their typical business hours.
I would definitely love to attend that. You'll have to promote and send out a link with all of that info. I love that some people are gathering in person, and you can go do that, but it doesn't work for everybody. So when you have the digital only events, they're fantastic. The Church Digital, we've been doing that right now. We've got 2 weeks that we've already done, reaching our digital neighborhood, and then recovery ministry. Wednesday, there are 4 Wednesdays in a row. This Wednesday is going to be European conference, and then in 2 weeks in Discord, I'll be hosting a digital missionary conference for gamers. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. But if you can't make it in person, like Born Again, you can't make it to NCMS. There's other things that people are starting to do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And if you need any speakers or any content at all, please reach out. Because I'm in that transitional point where I'm trying to figure out what do I do with this master's degree until next summer when I start my doctoral studies. I gotta figure out how to pay the rent and do some fun stuff.
That's cool. Like I say, we're digital. We've got this locked down. We'll be planning for May for a digital conference, but we haven't even picked out theme. We just put dates on a calendar for our next one. I don't know if gaming will be included or not. It could be a track. Or even game development. Who knows what we're going to do? We haven't talked anything about that.
Because I do the gaming, coaching, and parenting all kind of synonymous.
Yeah.
And I roll the topics together so that they fit.
Yeah, that would be well, one of the things, this is, I think, tangent, but it applies. As I've been having conversations with my denomination and trying to say, digital, come on, people, let's go digital, and they keep rolling their eyes back. Well, then when you have a side conversation with someone, they go, yeah, My church is struggling because we have a bunch of people that travel on sports teams. So they're gone all weekend long, and we don't know what to do to help reach out to the people who aren't there on Sunday. And I'm just like going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Like, instead of guilting them for not being there, you need to develop a ministry that is fully digital, and so that it is designed to reach them every week, whether they are traveling or not traveling, so they're connected and you're connected with them. I'm like, you just need to do this. So it's not the same as esports, because you might not have to travel for all of esports, but sometimes you do.
Yeah, if you're at the higher levels, you definitely
Yeah, you
are
definitely
either
do.
central to like a particular city. But no, you're right. Digital is the way. And I mean, I sit behind a computer every Sunday morning for 3 hours because I'm the digital pastor. That's what I do. And I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and the church online platform all simultaneously, chit-chatting and talking and praying and doing everything that I would do if I wasn't preaching. And we've actually seen, we probably get somewhere between 70 and 75 people online. But what's happening is when people are traveling, they're not missing church. That was the big ingredient that made a big difference.
Well, and that's what I was doing before COVID. I mean, I'm one of those weird pastors that we were streaming on YouTube live as soon as it was available, because I was already posting everything that we could online because I wanted my people connected. But COVID really opened me up to saying, wait a minute, we need community online. We don't just need content online. So they could feel like they participated, but we didn't feel their participation. We weren't connected to them. That's where you really need, it has to go from connection to community. We were doing connection for them. We weren't creating community for them. And Captain Gray, I feel like we're just shutting you out of this conversation. Jump in at any time or just change the subject.
Oh, well, that's a lot of pressure. I have thoughts, but I don't know if they're, I don't want to follow the rabbit trail too deep and derail his nice little schedule.
That's
he
all
has
right.
a schedule?
That's all right. We have a couple
think so.
topics we were going to
Okay.
touch on, but
If he doesn't interrupt, we're just going to keep talking.
I was trying to figure out a way, but it's all right. I was also enjoying listening.
Okay, we just made it weird for you.
I'm very much a listener. I was telling one of my kids this the other day that, like, one of the things that I think is a skill that I have is being able to stand in the middle of a conversation and not feel like I have to interrupt it and jump in and give my 2 cents right away. I like to listen and take in what everybody's thinking and talking about, and then kind of give my opinion if somebody asks me. Or sometimes.
Well,
if they
I don't
but
like
most
to
of the
watch
time.
somebody be excluded from the conversation. So that's why I wanted to say, hey, haven't heard from you.
Well, we could jump into our first topic, and actually, Captain Gray suggested it. The Nintendo patent lawsuits that are going on right now. Nintendo is walking into dangerous territory, and they're asking for patents that are just very broad. And actually, I did talk about this with somebody just not too long ago, or at least I was commenting on a post, because they want to have a patent on any kind of monster summoning technology within a game. So Pokemon, right? That's where they're going. But I'm like, wait a minute. When I was playing Final Fantasy on the Nintendo, you could summon all sorts of things. Now is that not okay? Is Final
Created
Fantasy
Pokemon.
are they copyrighted now, and Final Fantasy has to now cease and desist producing all copies of their game or pay royalties to Nintendo? I don't know how that would work, but it seems crazy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I know that I come at this from the point of view as not only a game enjoyer, but a game developer. And like as a game enjoyer, I don't like the idea that it's cutting off this whole, like that specific one could cut off a whole genre and really just ruin the industry from a consumer side, but also like if up until this point, like game mechanics were kind of treated like instructions, so not patentable. And if they have the ability to do that, like suddenly game development and any sort of creative pursuit gets super messed up, because then you have to like spend so much energy, resources, money, time on getting legal experts to comb through patents to make sure you're not in breach of something. And that'd be like me sitting down to write a novel and having to go through every patent ever to make sure that I'm using a story structure that's not been claimed by somebody else. And then on top of that, it being sort of this backwards compatible thing that they're like trying to patent something that's already been disseminated for and made by other people for years and years and years, decades built up of content. And it's yeah, it's a weird thing.
Well, I think that with Nintendo's context, I think it's broad on purpose. It's very dangerous. But if you look at what happened in the story of Paul World and how they quite literally ripped Nintendo and Pokemon off to create Paul World, and that game was astronomically well
Successful.
positioned financially, successful. I don't know, was it successful? Because I don't think anyone's else talking about it since. But like that first 7 days of launch was wild.
What's funny to me is that like it's gameplay wise, it's not even that close to Pokemon. Visually,
Absolutely.
yes, but the
Yeah.
gameplay is a clone of more like Ark or a different game. But like that's what games do is we clone each other. Like that's
Yes.
we build on the formula. It's like a recipe. And you can't patent a recipe. You can
Yeah.
patent all the frilly frou-frou words around a recipe, which is why you have to scroll 18 million years to find the recipe. But
Well, it'd
yeah.
be similar, like
it-
if the first RPG patented the idea of any kind of RPG system, we wouldn't have Dragon Warrior, we wouldn't have Final Fantasy, we wouldn't have all these things that people enjoy, because it would be like, well, no, we can't make it so that characters have stats that improve every time they level up, and we can't make them able to equip weapons. Right? As if if Dungeons and Dragons patented that idea, and now you can't make video games out of it. Right?
Is this the same one that's specifically in relation to the mechanics, like the character mechanics in a game as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only
There's a
about the
few
character
different-
mechanics because they couldn't actually get them on creative copyright infringement because there was none. So they started cracking down on mechanical infringement for patents that they created after they released the game.
Yeah. How
Or so
similar
I've
would
been
this?
told.
Yeah. How similar would this be to any patent laws that are there within operating systems, and how those are parts of things? And if you take part of a code from there and move it over, I don't know, but I'm just saying there is a level at which software companies patent things. I don't know how related it is of writing code here to writing code for that to know, but if that was a precedent, there would make some sense to it. But you know, it's kind of like
Yeah.
if Dungeons and Dragons had patented a 20-sided die. I don't know if you could do that because, well, all you have to do that is have somebody come out with a 21-sided die. You know, so really, did you do anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting thought. It reminds me of the I saw a movie quite a long time ago where the guy worked for an auto company and he patented the delayed wiper, the windshield wiper. And he did something in a way that the car companies tried to like shut him down and sue him into oblivion. And one of his lawyers actually, I think, won the case by saying like, okay, so have you read, To Kill a Mockingbird or something like that? The guy's like, yeah. He's like, and in that book, they use the letter E, right? They use the letter A and probably the letter R. And and so he's like, okay, so does any other book that uses the letter E and the letter A and the letter R, or that those are all now in infringement of that original work just because they rearranged the letters? And then they were like, oh, I guess you got us. But yeah, it's pretty funny. It's kind of, I'm curious to see how it goes, because it sounds like maybe a lot of the articles I was looking at today, they seem kind of hopeful that somebody will turn this over or whatever, modify it to the point where it's no longer a danger to the gaming industry. as widely as it seems like it could be now. I don't know.
Well, and maybe their intent is to make it as wide as possible to start with, because they know they won't be able to get that, but they're looking for more, more specific things that they really feel they can get. So they're starting with, it's kind of like my wife works in the medical field. And if some incident happens in the hospital, you name the doctors, you name the nurses, you name anybody that was even in the building, and they're all going to get thrown out before you actually get to court. But if you don't name them to begin with, you can't go back and name them later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aim high.
Yeah. Aim high and really hope you can get something out of it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could be. Any other closing thoughts on that topic? I'm interested to follow up with it. I haven't really been paying super close attention to it because I don't know, drama does this thing to me that pushes me away. I'm like, oh, there's drama. I'll just ignore that and then see what happens a year from now. I'll go back and look it up later and see what happened. But
Good idea. Good, healthy.
I totally
not to
agree on
obsess
that
over
health
it.
side, because I think that we tend to take the emotions that we think we have time for and we invest it somewhere. We don't want to have it not being used. So this is the algorithm. This is the way in which our rage and our love and our passion, everything gets invested so quickly online. And we don't have that separation as much as we used to. I love that position, Scott, because I think that the power is you as a unique individual probably don't have a lot of sway in how that whole thing's going to play out. But
yeah,
if
and
there comes a moment, if you're, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say at the same time, I can understand that because I don't have a vested interest in it, that I'm more capable of separating myself from it rather than someone who's a developer like Sammy is. So it's like, there are people to whom this is important and they are going to follow it, and just hopefully not to an unhealthy level where it's an obsession thing. But like,
So, but that's where my point was kind of going to go to. How do the three of us come alongside Sammy and support her process in that journey for clarity, for context, for how do we support that stress, that pressure, that you're going to be struggling through? Because this is a very real thing to you. I don't need to invest my energy in that process because it's not going to impact me the same way, but I would much rather have my time invested in the community that we have here. Because that does matter.
I know it seems like a weird thing to pray for, but it's one of the things that I pray, that I'm just like, God, do your work. You can fix this to make sure we have like an optimal outcome, unless it's the end times, and then it doesn't matter. I know I get to make video games in heaven, probably, hopefully, with unlimited budget and unlimited time. So
oh man, I never thought of that. That's going to be great.
that would be so fun. I could spend 10 years making a game for one guy, just to be like, here, this game's for you.
Eternity. It's so crazy.
We don't have to get into the conversation that heaven is here. And it's those that don't participate in here that don't get to stay. That's a different line, for
Well, that
sure.
was
Yeah,
part- that-
that's it's a different podcast. I'll join you on that podcast.
That was
throw
part
that
of
stone in the
the
pond all day long.
part of the Focus on the Family podcast I mentioned earlier. She said, joy and the fun, when you find something that brings you real joy here on earth, it's a glimpse of what eternity is going to be like. When you say, I hope this doesn't end, then that's like a glimpse. Like, that's what heaven will be like, what eternity will be like when you get there. And she said it can actually be a moment to share with somebody else who's not a believer, because if somebody says that, if you're having fun, if you're eating dinner around the table with a friend who's not a Christian, and they say, man, I wish this didn't have to end, you could say, you know what, it doesn't have to. And like transition into that talk. And I was like, that's so cool. Like you were talking about listening about the Catholic boy who was given sainthood and crying during that. I was driving along in my car, tears coming down my face, listening to this woman talk about fun and eternity and sharing the gospel. I was like, that's so cool.
Well, but that also ties into Chaplain asking, so what do we do to come around Captain Gray in this? And it is be in relationship, so that there are places that she can take and invest in that's not about the anxiety of what's going on with her occupation. She needs to have rest. She needs to get shalom. She needs to have fun. She needs to get rejuvenated. And if we are too busy to spend time, I mean, the whole community, not just, whoever's on the podcast, but if we don't have those avenues to help her and to walk alongside of her as she journeys, and then at times when it is serious and she needs to share about what's going on, it's that relationship and community is how we help anybody walk alongside of anything that they're praying for and have anxiety over, because we need to be there with them, being Christ to them as they're struggling.
Amen. Well, you mentioned health when I said the thing about kind of distancing myself from drama, and I think we could transition on that into our next topic of health and safety habits around gaming. But we're gonna maybe dive in, and I don't know if it'll spend the rest of the hour talking about it. It could be a big topic, but Roblox. It was interesting because a couple weeks ago, when I decided that we would talk about it as a topic, I started kind of chatting about it just while I was playing Minecraft with a friend on stream. And a gentleman stopped by the stream, actually, and he said, we were like, what are you up to? He's like, well, I'm fighting a platform fire. And I was like, that sounds like a developer of some sort. He's like, well, I work for Roblox. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Because yeah, they've got a lot going on there. But you got any of you want to dive in and maybe unpack what you know about the situation, or if you have any thoughts about the situation that's going on with them?
I certainly have thoughts, but I don't want to be, a bulldozer.
Wreck it.
I know Chaplain
Go for
also
it.
has thoughts.
Just go wreck it, Ralph.
Nice.
Please bring it.
Well, I guess for context for our audience, like I did not grow up with Roblox, so I had a severe misunderstanding of what Roblox even was. I thought it was a game like Minecraft that maybe had some mods. No. Roblox is a platform like Steam. Roblox is essentially like Valve's Steam platform that hosts applications built by users. Publishers, developers, there's big studios, little studios, there's other 12-year-olds making games, and there's some really beautiful things about what they've built, and there's some really terrible things about what it invites. It's a tool like anything else that can be misused, and so in Roblox defense, this is kind of a complicated, it's a big ask to ask them to police. That would be like asking Steam to police every single game, like MMO, that was released on their platform. Like that should be on the developers. But they're also doing things like not helping the problem.
I think the biggest thing that they did not help is they just opened the gates. They wanted market share. They wanted to have the opportunity to compete. And rather than putting in restrictions and controls in place at the beginning, now we're trying to put the beast back in the box. Yeah. And I have, since the beginning of my digital talking, have been zero no-go on Roblox. Because it is an unpoliceable platform that even though the amusement of parent controls exist, they don't actually function as they are designed. And so you can put on your child's account, this is a child, her name only has access to XXX, but they don't verify the other accounts, age, limitations, and such. So if somebody says, I'm 12-year-olds too, then all of a sudden your child's allowed to connect with anybody that says they're of a particular age group, whether they are or they are not. And this is what blew open the problem, is that we were having scenarios where grown adults were engaging with children for any number of reasons. And in a very, very select, very limited experiences, these were becoming real world experiences that were becoming disastrous. But they're very limited. They're very, very few. So they're not the whole of Roblox by any stretch. And I'm not suggesting by any means that all of Roblox should be burned. The problem is, as a parent, I do not have the parenting role if my child is in that space. I cannot conduct myself as a parent. And that always kind of just sat with me a little bit wrong. So.
Yeah.
Well, then I have a philosophical question. Oh, sorry, you can
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
first if you want.
No.
Because I've had to develop a few things for Roblox through work and for Christian companies nonetheless. And there was this kind of like internal debate going on of whether we wanted to be in that space where we knew these things were going on. And I think ultimately we came to the conclusion that we didn't want to abandon that space because completely leaving it leaves it more vulnerable. And so like we were kind of taking this approach of let's be an oasis, let's make sure we make experiences that are safe for kids, that while they're in here, you know, more or less. And now admittedly there's still holes in that. Like we can't police them, and we can't continue to police them after the I don't know, game's life cycle is done. But yeah, that's on that.
Yeah.
Could you expand on the philosophical thought then that you're having in the midst of that? How could we as the communicators here lean into that as a question?
Sorry, I don't think I understand the counter question.
Is it?
I just want you. Go ahead, Scott.
Can I try? So when, like, in terms of like streaming, if we compare that, I've heard of people saying like, well, why do you stream on Twitch? It's such a dark place. Well, it's a dark place. It needs light. And so I think similar idea was like, why would you create something for Roblox? Why not just abandon it? It's such a dark place. And Captain Gray was saying like, well, we decided that it needs that light. And so there's like that struggle of like, should we or shouldn't we, I guess.
Well, and to that struggle of there are places that need light. I don't, this is tangent, but I don't know how many people know XXX Church. XXX Church is a church whose whole ministry is to go into the pornography industry and to bring salt and light there. So one of the things that they do is they go to the porn conventions and they go around and they build relationships with the women and the guys who are in the industry. One of the main founders went around to college campuses debating that lifestyle versus a Christian lifestyle with a really prominently well-known person that if I said it, most people my age would know who that individual was. So I can't go do that. I am not called to that space, but it doesn't mean I should tell everyone else that they're not called to it. So if your company makes the decision or you as an individual make a decision and say, hey, I really can't or feel uncomfortable working on that, can I just back off or move in a different direction on something else? And if you can't and they say, no, sorry, we really need you, you're the only one that could do this, well, you know, pray about it and then make a decision, is your job worth it or not? But then also thinking about how can I add light to this if I do have to do this? How can I be light to go into that space, you know, so that it's not fully abandoned? I think that's one of the problems that we tend to do historically as the church is identify something as a dark place so we all avoid it instead of bringing the light to that space. I happen to know, so I don't know if anyone in here knows, and this has been some time ago, and I think I've heard people talk about perhaps the very first digital church was actually in Roblox. An 11-year-old started a digital church, and then he aged out of it, and he tried to hand the church over to younger people, and it just didn't continue. But I think that was like really early on when Roblox was getting started, and it was a really big church. I don't remember how long ago that was, but he aged out and couldn't be there, and couldn't connect and couldn't pass the baton and raise up. So even if it's just for a season to give light, you can impact people that are there for a short time. In church planting, we often talk about the fact that everything has a life cycle, and the evidence for that is all of the churches that Paul planted are no longer around. So they were still worth planting. So if you bring light into a dark place and it's only for a season, it still brought light to some people who then remain in the light and are not trapped in the darkness. So there you go. There's your philosophical.
That's a real good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So with regards to any of the things that we've mentioned here, the gentleman that I told you that said he works for Roblox actually offered to allow me to interview him. So I got a chance to speak with him over the course of a couple days and ask him a bunch of questions. I think I posted the video in Discord for you guys of the guy who's like the IT dad, and he goes and he tests things and then he does reports on them. And I thought it was a great video, but it's possible that he's misinformed, or maybe the wording that he used kind of sensationalized some things, which is always possible with any kind of social media or news or anything like that. So I shared that video with the gentleman. He came back and gave me his thoughts on it, that he said, well, one of the things is that Roblox as a company has always cared about safety. But they deal with, like, I think Captain Gray kind of alluded to, the idea that it's like a whack-a-mole. It's like a cops and robbers of, we come up with a way to catch this one thing. So he said that originally these rooms that were being created by the, what will we call them, bad guys, were using the word condo as like a code word of, like, if this is a room that has the word condo in it, then this is a place where it's, inappropriate stuff happens. They went away from that. Now it's like public restroom or something like that, or public bathroom. But he said tomorrow it could be penguin people. He's like, how do we see into the future and stop them from creating a room with a name that we don't know they're going to use tomorrow or next week or next year? And it does become quite a bit of a problem. Now, one idea that the guy in the video mentioned was a straight up, like, completely granular whitelist for your kids. My kids are allowed to go into this game and this game and this game and absolutely nothing else. And I guess the way that the whitelist works now, it's not granular enough. It's more like categories. And so that was one thing that he kind of gave a kudos to as an idea. But another thing that he mentioned was the aging up, like Flatcap mentioned with the guy that created the church on there, is that when Roblox was created, it was just a kids game. It was all kids, but now those kids are growing up and still wanting to play it. So as a platform, Roblox is trying to figure out, how can we continue to provide services or experiences for these people as they age up, while also keeping experience. And so it's like a constant whack-a-mole of ideas of, like, how do we fix that? And he makes a good point that it is a parent's job to. So he said, my kids play, but either myself or my wife is sitting and playing with them actively every time that they're on and in the game. They don't get on and play by themselves. Their Discord is very strictly monitored. And it's like, yeah, and I just don't have time to do that. So my kids don't play Roblox, like you said, Chap. That's my decision. There's no Roblox in my house, not because I believe all of Roblox is evil, because maybe not all of it is. And just a couple other things. I don't want to go through the whole entire conversation that we had. But like, one of the things he mentioned was that most of the stuff that happens that's inappropriate is actually the people are smart enough to have most of their inappropriate conversations outside of Roblox. It's in Roblox where they kind of hook the person. And so what they'll do is they'll put some text in their bio that is the last, 6 to whatever characters of a Discord server. So it's random. It's like random characters. He says like it's like YXYDSK520 or whatever, and you can't figure out how to block that from being in people's bios. So then it's another whack-a-mole thing of like trying to figure out how do we prevent people from getting outside of our system, because once they're outside of our system, we have no visibility on it. But everybody blames Roblox because that's where the initial contact happened. And then it was another comment
Well,
about. Go ahead.
And I hear what you're saying, but again, I have to go back to the origins of it. That the security features were not put in place in the beginning. If there were children involved, no cutting and pasting. Like, that's simple enough. You cannot cut and paste content in or out. So you can't like being able to get there's ways to limit that export of content or links to outside sources and such.
Yeah.
But every single talk that I do, I center from, hey, mom, dad, if you want your kid to be safe, you need to be there with them. And it isn't even to prevent them from having a negative experience. That's not what the most important part is. The most important part is that your child will come and tell you about a negative experience that they've had. That family IT guy interviewed a police officer in one of his videos, and he was talking. So this police officer has a daughter who's in grade 9, and they get onto the topic of child images that have a very explicit nature. And he says, how many images do you think your daughter received in 9th grade? He says hundreds of images she received. And the hook was, if she didn't reply to said images with a similar image of her own, she was excommunicated from the peer group. Like the wrath with which teens and young children or young adults will behave in these kinds of contexts is, and I've used this in my talk, it's Lord of the Flies. We don't have parental wisdom that exists in the midst of these relationships. And I don't even want to necessarily police it or prevent it. But I want my kids and my grandkids now to say, hey, Poppy, what is this about? Why is this happening to me? And then we talk about it. Not even so that I can get involved. I never wanted to be the dad that was going to break something or beat something or scream and yell at a principal because something didn't go the way that I wanted it. I didn't want to be that parent, but I wanted to help my child be guided through the process. They're the ones that have to live in it. And I think that whether it's social media, video games, digital, anything, but what if it's church? What if your child goes to church and let's just say there's a weird theology, or let's just say there's something happening that's maybe not as we would have done as a family value? Is my child going to come and talk to me about it or not? It doesn't matter the topic. I want to encourage parents to have that very holistic relationship with their child, regardless of the topic. Whether it's sports, it could be anything at all. It can be crocheting. Oh my goodness! Like, are you doing it with your child?
Yeah, like I say, you want to talk about it could be anything. So last weekend, I had a prayer booth down at the local artisan market, and there's these guys that like to do foraging and other stuff. So acorns are falling, and so they're working on a project to make acorn flour. So we were really slow, and I've known the guy since May, but our conversations have maybe been 5 minutes. I got a chance to sit down with him for a half an hour, 45 minutes, and just talk while we're sitting there crushing acorns and doing whatever else we're doing. So you're right. It doesn't matter if it's crocheting or something else. It's sitting and being present so the conversation can be opened up. So he was actually telling me, I knew an incident had happened where he likes to go and protest. I got no problem with that. I just never going to do it. But he had posted a guy yelling at him, getting in his face, screaming at him for 15 minutes. So I was just asking him more about that, and he said, yeah, that's been happening to me since I was 14. And so then we just got back into, well, what's going on in your life? What was going on? All of these kinds of things that if I wouldn't have asked the one question that led to a whole bunch of others and had genuine interest, and I think that's one part of what you're saying there, Chaplain, is your kids need to know you have genuine interest in what they are doing. So anytime you can open up the avenue of a genuinely am interested in you and what you learned, what you experienced, what you were concerned about, I genuinely want to know, and I'm not here to bring the hammer down on you if it was something I disapprove of.
Well, it's not something we can disapprove of. It's
Right.
not our world. And
Right.
that's we often mistake. That's the mistake. We are presuming that we can live our child's life. I cannot live Captain Gray's life. But I can sit here as a wind behind her sails, support and be present, to hear, to listen, to have conversation, to pray, or to just be. But I can't do it. Nor should I want to do it. Well, unless somebody does something really mean, and then I really want to do it. But we're supposed to be in this space where we're operating in the thing that we operate in.
I thought, and I know not every parent is going to have the exact same experience, but with my family and no Roblox, my daughter, who's 13, actually said to me, we were just sitting the other night and I was playing something on my phone and she was playing something on our laptop and we were just sitting beside each other, and she heard or she read something about kids' parents not being involved or something. I don't know what she was reading, but she said something about Roblox, and then she's like, Dad, I'm glad you never let me play Roblox. She's like, it's hard sometimes because kids are always like, what's your Roblox ID? It's like the new, like, what's your phone number? What's your MSN Messenger handle? What's your whatever? What's your ICQ number? That'll take you
AOL
back.
chat room.
Yeah. So she's like, it's hard because sometimes they'll ask, what's your this? And wait, you're not allowed to play that? And she's like, but knowing some of the stuff that I've heard about the game now, she's like, I'm really glad that you never let us play it. So I was like, I had a really nice dad moment there. I was like, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Just thinking about that, because Roblox wasn't around with my kids that I knew of, and they never asked about it. But as the internet was becoming available, the rule was, like on Facebook and other platforms, social media, you cannot friend someone you do not know in real life. I don't know how valid that is anymore, depending upon age. Certainly, as soon as you get on to start with, I think that's a really good rule there, so that when whoever the name is, and I don't care what their tag is, you say, oh, well, that's Billy. Billy likes to call himself, the Big Mountain or something like that, because, as like, okay, so I know Billy, but I wanted to know every single one of the contacts was tied to a person that they could go down the street and meet up with, or I could go and meet up with the parents. So, I might take the same position today on certain things. I took the position on certain TV shows, and later on, my kids are asking me, why did you never let us, watch that? I was like, well, I didn't like Pokemon because there was a lot of violence and fighting. And so my two boys were prone to fight each other. And I was like, no, I'm not giving you a reason to engage in fighting. and my daughter, or my son-in-law, had asked me about that because my daughter had made the assumption that I was judging it based on its magic. So it's witchcraft and you can't do any of that stuff. I was like, no, I didn't want you watching it because I want your brothers fighting.
They got too hyped up.
It had nothing. Yeah, it's like I could just I don't need anything to instigate a problem.
Yeah.
Well, then, if I may just steal this and segue, if you want a game that you can play with your kids multiplayer that isn't Roblox, I'm not sponsored, but I want to plug Sunderfolk, because imagine like a 4-player, almost Baldur's Gate-like experience where you've got like a narrator telling you the story, you're playing cute, furry woodland creatures, and you're going on little mini like board game campaigns. It's been compared to like Frosthaven, but like super light. But it's so cool because you get one copy of the game that plays on a computer or TV, like on a console, and then you control it with tablets and phones. So everybody's got their own like little stat screen and board and cards and stuff, and play it together. And the fact that you all have to be in the same room and on the same couch sharing a screen together, I just think is a delight of a family game.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a dive into it today too after you brought it up. It's on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. And yeah, it looks super awesome. I actually reached out to the developers on their Discord and started asking them questions about it too, because I was like, I want to know about this. I want to know more about it, because I'm interested to play it with my kids, but it actually does work over the internet, and I could play it on stream with viewers as well. So I thought that was really neat.
Oh, that is cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
Sunderfolk.
Sunder, like ripping, or
ripping asunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And folk.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when you were setting it up, well, my kids and I for a while last year, and we don't live in the same house anymore, we're playing Baldur's Gate every Sunday night together. And I was like,
So fun.
if I could do something, if I ever have grandkids, where they're not going to live next to me, but I could spend quality time with them on a game that is going to be age appropriate for them. And yeah, it's going to be RPG. I'm all over it. That's the place I'm going to dwell in, is RPGs. I mean, I'm not going to go first person shooter, and I wouldn't do that with kids either, but first person slingshot maybe, but
Good idea. No.
Yeah, so I reached out to them. They currently have just the one campaign. They said it's about 25 hours to 40 hours, which it's a pretty decent amount. I'm Canadian, so everything costs me like almost double what it costs you guys. It's like $64 on Steam. It's a little steep, but they are adding some more content over time. They said stay tuned. I asked, like, can we expect more content soon? Are you planning to do like free DLCs or paid DLCs? And they wouldn't give me any extra information, but there is a free trial on their website that you can download, so that's really cool.
It is part of the fall sale. It's currently 44% off.
Oh.
At only $54 Canadian. Regularly, it's $100 if you get the bundle.
Oh, the bundle. Okay, yeah. I'll have to take a look.
Because you need to get the bundle if you're going to do it, right? So, but again, you're right. Like it is so difficult to, okay, how do I get access to this? And I mean, again, if both my wife and I were working full time, these are not questions that I'm asking. And so it's not even fair for me to sit back and go, I want a deal. I don't want a deal. I want to know that it's an opportunity or an activity to be a part of. That's all that I'm looking for.
Yeah. I just want to know that if I get it and it costs me even $54 or $44, that I sit down to play it with my kids and it's done. It's like one and done. I sit down and play it and it's 4 hours and we finish it, and then it's, does it have replayability? Does it have this, that? So I am going to definitely try the trial, and I'd be excited to hear as you play it more, Sammy, how things go.
But you can also go to YouTube University and see what other people have posted of it, if they have.
That's true.
They probably have.
How much does it cost to take your kids to the movie if the whole family goes?
A lot.
That's the way I kind of like put it for myself. I'm like, for the same price, I can take me and my husband to the pumpkin patch and go to a corn maze for a couple of hours of fun, or I can buy this video game. I mean, I'll probably do both, but
Yeah.
Or you can go to the retiring of Sergei Fedorov's jersey at the hockey game and spend way more than that, which which I know is happening because of questions that I've got, but I bet it's probably a birthday gift that I'm going to get this year is to go to that, and I think it's in January, so way too expensive.
No shade.
That sounds
people
cool.
want to spend their money on. Like that,
Right.
That sounds great if
No
you're
shade.
into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I hope that goes
I don't want to
well.
be clipped and taken out.
I spent $250 on Blue Jays tickets when they were in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Not the playoffs. What do they call it? Postseason? Maybe it is the playoffs. I don't know. Anyway, second round, and my favorite pitcher was pitching. The guy that throws the knuckleballs.
Oh.
What's his name? It was like kind of end of his career, and played for the Blue Jays, and he was like one of two knuckleballers in the league over like the past like 2 decades, and R.A. Dickey. And he starts and he pitches 2 innings, and he does so terribly that they pull him after 2 innings. And I was like, oh no.
No.
I was like, and they lost like
no.
14-2 or something like that. And I was like, oh, that was $250 well spent. But you never know, right? You never know with stuff like that. But no, I think, yeah, after our talk now and thinking about it, that game's probably going to be a good investment. Especially if they told me to stay tuned. That doesn't, if they weren't planning on doing anything, I think they would have been like, nope, don't get your hopes up.
I personally love throwing money at developers that are making like couch co-op games because just those don't exist enough in this era. I grew up with them on the Nintendo, and I'm like, yes, all right, just do more of that, please.
Well, the other thing you can do, so you said they're on Steam, is everybody can go put them on their wish list because that is helpful. You can go any game, if you can't afford it, you can't get it now, but you want more games like that. Wish list those games. It is helpful for them to be able to say, here's how many we've sold and here's how many people have wish listed it. This is our potential audience that is ready to buy. We don't know why they haven't bought yet, but they are intending to at some point.
That's a good point. Yeah. Cool. Well, that leads us into our last topic, I guess, was the release of Hollow Knight Silksong. I played the first Hollow Knight a little bit, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I never finished it, but my kids were like super hyped up about the sequel for some reason. I didn't know why, but apparently everybody else was too, because it broke multiple online stores. Have any of you tried it or played the first one or care about it?
Only have watched a little of the first one,
Watched
but
a
I know
bit.
that it's well beloved
Yeah.
by the community.
And I mean, I
the
think for good reason. The first game is really well done. It's got great artwork and smooth animations and controls well. It's hard, but it gives you some challenge. So yeah, it broke a bunch of stores. That's crazy, because I've never heard of that. Even with the big, GTA 6 when it comes out, is it going to break stores? Probably not. I don't know. Hello?
Hope persists in the animal village of Arden.
Somebody's watching the trailer.
I was just trying to pull it up and it auto played on me. Sorry.
That's okay. I was like, who's in my
I
room
had a
with me?
Twitch ad play at the same time.
That's funny.
Confused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that would be confusing. You're seeing the Twitch ad and something different is playing. Yeah.
Different
Yeah.
audio. Yeah. No, the only thing I know as well is that it did have some bugs, and the reviews. I was looking at reviews today, and they're kind of somewhat spread. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I wish I didn't waste my money on this. And then there's other people who are like, it's the best game I've played in years. And so it's very funny that there's such a wide spread.
It really depends on what bug you run into. Because I've run into bugs before where I suddenly am behind the wall. I can't exit. I'm stuck in there. I turn the game off. It reboots. I'm fine. I lost a little bit of progress. Okay, I'm upset, but no big deal. However, I got stuck in a river raid in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I couldn't get out, and it wouldn't let me do anything, and I wasn't starting over again, so I put the game down for 5 years. And I haven't bought an Assassin's Creed since. So
I did that with...
So it depends on the bug.
I did that with the second Metro game. I played for 4 hours one night and saved my game, and the Xbox cloud save didn't sync or something, and it reset all that progress, and I was like, okay, uninstall.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Anyway,
like all games these days just have an unstuck button, just a
they
button
should, yeah.
that will teleport me to the nearest standable point on the nav mesh or something.
Yeah.
I remember the moment that World of Warcraft added that because there were so many places you could get stuck in a map so massive
Yeah.
and you
Oh.
didn't want to die because it did other things to you. But it's like, yeah, like that. When it did the unstuck thing, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that's
got stuck a lot of times in that game, just trying to climb over terrain that you weren't supposed to climb over, or different things like that. Right? Yeah, it was lots of fun. I actually started playing World of Warcraft again the other night on stream. I was like, I need to scratch the itch. I haven't played it in years, and so I installed it and just started playing as a level 1 character. See how it felt. It's a very good game. Anyway,
I appreciate you sharing that, and I appreciate that I have no itch.
good. Yeah.
I
It could
am
be a
so happy
problem.
about that because I was lost for a decade
Yeah.
in World of Warcraft.
It was about the same for
I
me.
was
And I didn't even achieve anything. Like, of course, it's a video game, so you didn't achieve anything anyway. But I never got past the first level cap, which was 60. Level cap skyrocketed up to like 120. All my friends are doing the end game raids at 120. I'm still like level 58. I'm just running around fishing and doing the low level raids and dungeons and stuff because I enjoyed it. I'm a very casual player, but I sunk a lot of hours into it, playing with people and just wanting to be online and chatting with friends. That was my childhood.
Yeah, my video game play was all before online play. So I have never had an interest to play with other people online. None. I never gained it. I never had an interest. I never had friends doing it. I've tried doing Final Fantasy 14, hanging around. It really makes me nervous when there's lots of people walking around in the game that I don't know and they're not NPCs.
That's fair. I used to feel that way about MMOs. I was like, I don't want to engage with strangers. I just want to play with my friends. Like, can I just ignore all these other people?
Yeah.
Too anxious for this.
Yeah, that's where I don't know if I'm going to keep playing it just because it makes me kind of anxious around a bunch of people running around doing other stuff. You're trying to do the same quest I am and you're doing it better than me. I don't want to be here. So.
Yeah, I wanted to mine that rock or chop down that tree, and you did. Now I got to wait for it to respawn for half an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
True. Sometimes then you got to contend with the bots.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for joining me. Anybody have any closing thoughts or anything you're working on that you want to share? I'll give you a second to think about it, and I'll go first this time because usually I go last, and I'll promote my conference again. So we're doing the Gathering Game Conference this Saturday, October 4th, and it's open to all families, individuals. Actually, we have a young man who's, I don't know, he's in his 20s. He's coming because he wants to beat a bunch of people at Mario Kart, which is awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got some sponsors and people who print T-shirts actually sponsored us, so I could make up some shirts for volunteers at a decent price. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that. And right after the stream, actually, we're playing Minecraft on the server that I've got set up here. So that's going to be fun. How about you?
Very cool.
Anything, Sammy?
I would just, you said,
Flatcap, yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
Like I said, you said closing thoughts. You never know what impact you're going to make on one person when you are online. So whether you're the streamer, whether you're in the Discord, whether you are in chat, you have the potential to be salt and light wherever you are. Don't pass up the opportunity to be that for somebody. That's just kind of my thought. I've had a lot of events that have happened in the last month that are just like, wow, God is up to stuff. I'm hearing stories from other people as well as my own ones. And it's just like, I love hearing those stories of God showing up. And then what I've got going on, the Church Digital, I was mentioning earlier. So you can go to missionary.digital. We have a conference that's on Wednesday if you're in Europe. And then we have the Digital Missionary Gaming Summit, which will be October 8th, and it'll be in Discord. But if you go to missionary.digital, you'll get all the info. And what we really want to do is help equip people to be a digital missionary in gaming space, right where they are, knowing who God's called you to reach, assess if you're actually able to reach them. How are you doing? Learning how to set the table and invite people in, and then experimenting and growing and changing so that you can reach more and more people. So
Very cool.
I love that. That's exciting. I mean, I think for me, my big thing right now is I've got 3 speaking engagements coming up. So I'm partnering with Scott, and we're gonna, speak to some parents and hopefully again build out the conversation around how do we teach parents to partner with their kids, and not live vicariously through them, but just kind of help bring wisdom and guidance into that journey. And then I'm also doing a breakout session at the Toronto Children's Conference, where I'll have an opportunity to speak to children's pastors and leaders and volunteers from all across the city, and hopefully even most of Ontario, just about navigating digital safety as a church. How do we navigate it for and alongside our parents, who we want them to then do it? So creating these different layers. And then middle of November, I speak at the Twitch conference for the Esports Research Network, and I'm focusing on holistic coaching. Like, where is the gap for a professional esports player or athlete as a coach? How do we invest in that generation? So,
very cool.
And you plugged Sunderfolk. I assume that's your plug for the night, Sammy? Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
probably
go.
be my plug. Yeah.
Everybody go wishlist it.
There we go. Everybody go wishlist it.
Unless you're working on something,
did.
which we'd love to hear about.
Oh, unfortunately, not currently, or not in any sort of shareable state. If you do want if there's anybody watching who's like, well, I'm gonna play Roblox anyway, you can play Catlantis. I know some people who built it, and it's fun, safe, happy-go-lucky. You get to be a cat mermaid. I feel like that sells itself.
like that, I would think it would. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks for joining. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
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 Bye.